Hey guys, welcome back to Insight Tennis Store Stroke Series. My name is Rick Oldroyd. I'm the president and founder of Insight Tennis. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the backhand slice, and we're going to show you some different things, demonstrate some different things on the wall today. We talked in a previous video about some power biomechanics or power positions that all the best players in the world use on the backhand slice to achieve such a heavy, penetrating, driving shot. And this is something that is pretty advanced to learn how to do this, but I'm going to teach you some techniques that will allow you to do that, some key elements that allow the pros to achieve such a driving shot that stays low, penetrates through the court, and is very, very offensive. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. If you remember from the other video on the backhand slice, I talk about two key positions that you must get into to have an effective slice that has good pace and power, but also nice knifing through the court aspect as well. And there's a couple of things that are critical. Whether you take the racket back like Federer does, where you take it back and you actually rotate it this way, or whether you take the racket back more flat like the majority of players do. The key position that you've got to get into, if you saw this other video, is the position here I want to show you. So let's use an example. Okay, I'm going to hit a slice here. I take my racket back basically about to here. Now I'm going to time the ball coming off the ground. So as the ball's coming off the ground, I'm going to actually take my racket back farther as I'm ready to step in as a product of the momentum of the swing. And the critical piece that I want you guys to understand is this next move right here. As I start to swing back to contact, I got to get in this position right here. Notice that the frames of reference would be your knuckles to the sky, your racket face open. Okay, now what we're going to show you today is I got to get into this position, but coming back to the ball, it's too often taught and even widely believed that I want to just stay in that same position all the way through contact. And you can actually hit the ball like that. You can hit the ball over the net, but it is absolutely not what the pros do. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I get into that good position, whether I take it this way or whether I take it here. And as I'm ready to come back down into the ball, I'm going to actually get into this position. But when I come down into the ball, what I've got to do, if I keep my racket in the same position, I'm going to be open at contact. And you see how open that racket face is, and I go through the ball like you're supposed to, right? That ball is going to go high. There's not going to be anything on that. So let me kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about here in just a second. But what I want to emphasize is, instead of doing that, and I want to show you, well, actually, let me just go ahead and show you, and because a picture's worth 1,000 words, okay? So watch when I come back into this ball, okay? I am going to have an open racket face, okay? So I'm hitting a pretty effective slice right there, right? All day long, right? All day long, but the ball is just flying up, okay? There's absolutely nothing on that ball, right? I can hit it over the net all day long like that, but there isn't anything on it. So the key, and the reason why the shot is so driving and knifing that the pros hit, is that there isn't actually a rotation back to contact. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, if I take my racket back, whether I take it this way or this way, doesn't really matter, but as I get that good shoulder turn, as I'm coming back down to the ball, I'm going to come into the ball like this, but as I come to the ball, I'm going to rotate my racket back to contact. Okay, here, and slight rotation to actually close the racket face a little bit at contact, contrary to popular belief. If you watch Wawrinka, if you watch Federer, if you watch some of the best slices, Dimitrov, this is what you're going to see. Whether you finish high, whether you finish low like Federer does, concepts are the same in terms of that rotation back to contact. So now let me kind of illustrate that now that you've seen, you know, not rotating. So let me be very clear. If this is the racket face, I'm coming in and I'm keeping my racket in the same position, like is so often taught and believed. It's not what the pros do, but you hear it all the time. Now, when you rotate to contact, I want you to observe a couple of things. Immediately, there's tremendously more power on that slice immediately. The reason is because now there's a huge power source in that rotation. So as I take my racket back to here and I come back to the ball and I rotate back to contact, boom, through that ball. Or if I do it like Federer does and finish down here, the concept is the same. You rotate back to contact. That rotation, right, from here to there is a huge power source. And it does take great timing. It's something you're going to have to work on to be able to achieve. So there's that element of power. Let's do a couple more of those with that rotation. Same stroke, but now I'm just going to rotate. Okay, immediately more power. Let's do one more. So same stroke, but rotation through contact. And again, what you'll find, guys, is that is a huge amount of power. I mean, that's getting to close to how people hit their ground strokes. And that's one of the things you're going to find with this. As you master this technique, you're going to be able to hit the ball very, very hard and knife it as well. Okay. Now, the thing that adds the next dimension of power is the release back before. So as I'm taking my racket, you know, whether I take it this way or whether I take it this way, I'm only going to take it initially about 3/4 back. And then as I'm ready to step into the ball, as a product of the momentum of the swing, I'm going to take my racket back farther. You'll see this with Federer. And so I'm releasing it back and then coming down into that ball. Okay? That little move right there, that little release, that right there is a huge power source. And the more I do that, the better my timing has to be, but the more power I can put on the ball. So let me kind of give you an example of that, and a little more extreme example now. So I'm going to release it. Okay, and even if the ball flies on you a little bit there, I didn't get closed quite enough, but here, there's some serious, serious power on that ball. And that is the key right there, guys. It's this little release back and rotation. So the key things, the two things I want you to take away from this. When you take the racket back, contrary to popular belief, you don't take it all the way back right from the beginning. You want, as you see the ball coming and you can see you're going to hit a slice, you want to be, whether you take it this way or whether you take it flat, I'm going to use the Federer example. So he actually takes his racket like this, right? And then as he moves out to the ball, as the ball's coming off the ground, what you're going to see is he'll rotate his racket slightly and he will release it back as he's getting ready, as he's stepping in, he releases that back, rotates it this way, comes down to contact, and then he actually contacts here and finishes over here with his racket lower than most players do. And that's a little bit different shot, but again, the key concepts are the same, and that is he releases it back and he gets to that position right there. This is critical, key. Racket face open, knuckles to the sky. As I come back to the ball, however, I've got to make sure that I come down and square that racket face back up. Okay, if I keep my racket in that same position, I'm going to come through and I'm going to have a very, very open racket face. And yes, I can hit the ball like that as I just demonstrated, but it does not have anything on it, and it is not a penetrating shot, and it's not what the pros do. So go out and work on this, practice it. It will take some time. You're going to have to be patient with yourself through the process. It is a pretty advanced move, but if you want to know what allows the pros to knife that ball and have it stay so low and penetrate the court, as well as have pace instead of a floating ball, this is absolutely the key. These are the key concepts that you've got to master. So Again, guys, go out and work on it. If you have any questions or comments, leave your comments in the section below, comment section below. And any questions as well, email me directly at rick@insighttennis.com. If you're interested in clinics or lessons, also check out our website at insighttennis.com. A lot of new content, a lot of new things on the website. So go check that out. And again, guys, love to hear your feedback, love to hear your comments. Thank you so much for the support. As always, thank you for your time, and we'll see you next time out on the court.